I have a question to ask all three of you. Um, do you think all three of you said that you discovered design later in college? My question to you is, do you think that our society today makes it difficult for the minority community to know the field and decide to do design? And this is a question coming from Tati.
I guess.
Oh, go ahead, Kevin.
I guess in my experience, especially for school systems with larger demographics I'll speak for the Black community. It seems like the arts and creative competencies, even design, like the notions of that, and even STEM, we go a little bit more broadly. Those programs, notice they tend to get cut faster than some of the primary core curriculum that students are required to do. So you sort of cut off at the knees and having any exposure going through sort of primary education. And when you look at, top brands, like we mentioned Under Armour, Nike, or Adidas, like you see the athletes that sort of portray a mirroring of us. But when you look into those organizations, you can't make the mental connection around, I could see myself working in this environment, in this organization. When I look at the leadership mosaic on the website for this brand, I don't see me at all. That sort of notion definitely needs to be addressed. And I think if I speak from the footwear and apparel experience from my time at Nike, there were some brave souls that had the courage to basically say, actually, I wanna create a bridge and create mentorship and exposure opportunities for rising young talent coming from our Black communities, and they started pilot programs where it created actually a way for Nike employees, I'll speak from that example, to actually go to a local Portland community center where a lot of inner city children would come and have time after school for after school programs. But we created basically a product creation mentoring experience where they got to design footwear and eventually present their concepts to Nike executives later down the line. But that's just a very small, moment in a much larger schema that we have to address.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know what school is looking like now. I'm sure I'll find out soon because I have a 2-year-old daughter. But like looking at design and like just throughout K through 12, I don't know if it's gonna ever be there. They're gonna ever show it. I've seen something called STEAM. So the A is for art. So like STEM plus A.
Yeah.
I don't really know how effective that is, but like I said, like Kevin said, I see it mostly in like after school programs, and that's just assuming that that family has the bandwidth for after school programs for their children, as opposed to just having everything they need delivered to them throughout just the school day. I mean, I hope that it becomes something that they actually implement. I feel like design thinking is becoming like a big buzzword. Something we did at NC State that I thought was really amazing was we had like a design camp every year, and it was for all ages, and I used to teach it every single summer. And the kids would come there and they just absolutely love it because they can kind of like see what they had thought in their mind come to life, and just that visual representation I feel like is very empowering for people in general. And just the way that our society is today, we consume everything through a visual lens. Like articles aren't all words anymore. We have articles, it's like some GIFs, it's some Twitter quotes, it's a video, and like they're all spliced into this article, or we swipe through it. Like the way we consume everything is very visual, and I think that will start to help hopefully push design into school programs and show that there are these different professions for it, just because how we consume things these days.
Spencer, do you have any thoughts on that? Do you think it's difficult? Society is making it difficult for minorities to know about design and decide to do design.
I'm scanning my brain here, like trying to time travel and go back to when I was a student. It's a long time ago, but I will say, as an immigrant, my parents were not necessarily the most encouraging about pursuing something in the arts. So there's probably an element of cultural resistance to doing this as well. Start in the home and create some awareness. But fast forward to today, or even 10 years ago, when things like the iPhone came out and Apple started becoming more than just a product company, but really just a lifestyle and symbol for things. I think it exposed people to this idea or notion of design that, even quote unquote normal people I speak with now, they at least have some idea of what an industrial designer could be for the most part. I don't get as much, hey, so you design factories, or, you're working on tools. What are you doing? I don't get that so much anymore. So maybe the issue isn't so much exposure as it is accessibility, and certainly cost is a factor when you consider minority populations. And, okay, is it grants? Is it, does the higher education system need some reform as well? But certainly I think, leading the charge by mentoring younger students or those interested in design is something I'm committed to, and I've opened myself up to more lately. And I think that's where we can make an impact and some changes. But to answer your question, yes, design is not the most visible thing or valued at times in companies, and so that's also a struggle as well. It's like, yeah, I want to maybe do this thing, that's my passion, but am I really going to be making an impact here? Maybe those are questions you wrestle with later in your career, or as you're studying and you realize, oh man, this might be a lot harder than I thought.